Multiverse, where the worlds of nerd meet. As always, I am your host, Joel, and joining me on another wonderful Spoilercast journey, it's Matt, everybody.
It is. How are you going, Joel?
Oh, can't complain, getting by, getting by. I got some good news that I may actually have somewhere to go and something to do at the end of this month, which is, different for me. Maybe my whole summer won't just be spent inside by the air conditioner hoping for the best.
I know what you mean. Yeah, yesterday we just came out. My state just came out of lockdown. We had like a week and a half of lockdown, which I don't particularly mind. Lockdown allows me to like get into my work and everything, like
Yeah.
no real distractions. But yeah, I was kind of feeling it there for a minute. There, it was like I want to go out and do something.
Yeah, it's like, is it really August already? Is it really
Yeah.
almost? Have we almost lost another summer
Yeah. Yep.
into this? Jesus Christ! But hey, could be worse. Could be
Could be.
worse that happened. Yeah, yeah. My week was all right there. Hung out for a little bit. Played some games. Nintendo had a big sale there, so I actually got Hyrule Warriors for the first time.
Ooh, nice. It's pretty fun, isn't it?
It is. It's a lot of fun. I've always enjoyed those, Dynasty Warriors kind of, Muso games, but
Hmm.
this is actually like a very, very good version of that.
Yeah, it is. It's really good, and it's technically canon with Breath of the Wild. It's like a
Yeah.
prequel.
Yeah, so it is apparently. Yeah, unlike those last couple Dynasty Warrior, Samurai Warrior games, which is them really, really phoning it in.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So that was good for me. Also, I jumped back into No More Heroes because we finally have a release date for that. I'm like, wait, I didn't even beat No More Heroes 1 on the Switch while I have it. Turns out I was on like the last boss fight and just never did it. Because I was saving money because you got to get the like special beam katana if you want the special secret ending, which of course I do.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been up to. How about
Nice.
you?
Pretty much the same. Just like doing a lot of work in the lockdown. Watched a bunch of movies. I watched last night the documentary on Val Kilmer. That's
Oh
on
yeah, yeah, you were
Amazon
talking
Prime.
about that.
Yeah, it's extremely sad. It's
I
extremely
bet.
sad, but like also it's kind of positive as well because he doesn't let. For people who don't know what happened to him, he ended up getting like throat cancer, and he now
Mm.
like has like the tube thing in his hand to like talk. He's got to like plug the hole, and it sounds like one of those people with like
Oh
smokers and
yeah, the
everything.
voice
Yeah,
box. Yeah.
yeah. But like it doesn't like slow him down or anything. He still does like all these. He's really into art and everything now, and he's
Mhm.
doing all that sort of stuff. And it's like a history of like his career from like where he
Oh wow.
started from to like now and everything. And his son narrates the whole thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
And
it's
also,
sad, but as well it's quite positive as well.
what's it called?
It's just called Val.
It's just called Val. Okay, I'll have to check that out. That sounds like something I would very much be interested in. Because yeah, Val Kilmer, he's one of those guys. He was Batman. He was top of the world
Hmm.
for a little bit, and then he just fell off the face of the earth, and a lot of people didn't know why.
Yeah, he did stand up comedy as Mark Twain. He did
So,
like a
fuck,
he did
wow,
like a
really?
Mark Twain it was
One man
like a
show.
Broadway show, but it was like because Mark Twain was like the first stand up comedian, he like did dressed up in like prosthetics and everything and did the show as Mark Twain.
That is insane,
And
but
he
not
was
as
really good.
insane.
He was really funny as well.
Wow, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, well, I really want to check that out now. So what do they cover? Obviously, I bet they have a whole segment talking about his time in Batman.
A little bit, yeah, yeah. All that, yeah. It goes from like when he was like a kid and like his family and all that, and then like how he got into like movies. He focused on like theater first, and then like
Mm.
transitioned to movies like Top Gun, Top Secret, and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, just about how he like they do talk about how like in like the 80s and 90s he was seen as like a real dickhead, and he broaches that as well as like is like he was like that. Like it doesn't excuse why he did it, but he says he was like that because he was trying to find roles that talk to him
Mm,
and everything.
right.
Yeah.
Do they talk about Tombstone, which I still think is
Yes.
probably his best
Yes,
performance?
they do.
Yeah, he's so fucking good in that, isn't
He is.
he?
He's really fucking good as Doc Holliday.
Again, I was just watching that movie the other day, and I'm like, he was never as good as this ever again. This was his like best performance, but it's such a good
It
performance.
is. Yeah.
Uh, So yeah, that's basically what my week has been like. I've been trying to get back on the keto as good as I can. I really indulged for movie night because obviously I watched the Suicide Squad. I'm like, oh yeah, I got to go hardcore on this.
Hmm.
I need because I didn't go to the movie theater. I really wanted to. I was gonna make the Suicide Squad the
Yeah.
first movie I went out to the theaters at, but at the last second I'm like, nah, I think I'm gonna stick it and stay home just because I can watch a movie and pause it and eat snacks and not have to deal with regular people. So I got the licorice, I got the big soda. They got the M&Ms now where it's like a pack of like multi M&Ms. So you got original peanut butter and peanut M&Ms all in the same bag. I also had the Wendy's spicy chicken Pringles.
Ooh, okay.
That's a flavor of Pringle they have. Kind of disappointing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Then those types of things are never as good as they seem.
No, I remember Doritos. They had like the cheeseburger Dorito, and that blew me away because it actually did taste like a cheeseburger. But every other time you get a chip that's supposed to taste like something else, it never does.
Yeah.
The worst part is that it wasn't even a good type of spicy because you like a Wendy's spicy chicken sandwich because it's like, ooh, that's hot, but then it doesn't stick with you.
Yep.
So there's a thing. So that's what I've been up with.
Nice.
That was my snack experience. So tonight I made hamburgers with lettuce wraps because
nice.
bread is the enemy apparently. My great foe, my white whale, delicious bread that I must always battle against. So yeah, if you couldn't tell, everyone, we're going to be talking about the Suicide Squad. There was not a lot of news this week worth bringing up. So This is probably going to be a whole movie show. So if you haven't seen it, go see it and come back because we are going to be talking about everything. But that being said, I don't think there's anything too massively huge to spoil in this.
Yeah, well, there's probably 2 deaths, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, ones I didn't see coming, but yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of deaths, and that's kind of the point.
Yeah.
Although they kind of walk back a couple at the end, and there's a couple where it's like, oh, what is it? This is going to go a different direction. Because they have to, because certain characters, are earmarked for shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, where do we want to begin when talking about the Suicide Squad? I guess just general reaction. I quite enjoyed it.
I did as well. Yeah, I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, it's a lot of. It's basically everything I wanted from a James Gunn directed Suicide Squad movie, which in and of itself is amazing because it almost didn't happen.
It almost didn't, yeah.
It almost didn't happen. It only happened because Gunn briefly got ousted due to shitty false accusations, and we ended up getting the best of both worlds because he got to make this movie and he got to go back to Guardians. So everybody won.
And they doubled down on this because he's making a Peacemaker show as well.
And he's helping make the Peacemaker show now on HBO Max. Again, you could tell that he was having a lot of fun getting to do an R-rated superhero movie, getting to go back to the grosser, bloodier, more Troma stuff.
Yep.
I mean, in fact, in the broadest strokes, this movie feels a lot like a canon war movie, like a cheapo, war movie you would see with fucking Reb Brown or Chuck Norris or something.
Yep. Yeah, it feels like a throwback to that and the Dirty Dozen and films like that, Magnificent Seven.
Which is also all stuff that, Ostrander himself was drawing upon when he wrote the book originally back in the day. And yes, Ostrander gets a great cameo here. He even gets a line.
He does. He's the one who injects Savant with the chip.
Yeah, which I like very much. And, the fact that he's in that means that he probably is going to get, a residual for the rest of his life, which is good.
Yeah.
Because Lord knows he didn't get rich writing comics, which is a shame because he continues to write really good comics.
He does, yeah.
And the fact that they were willing to be like, yeah, go for it, make this one an R, because, we trust you on this one. And they did. And I think they ended up with something really great and really special here.
Yeah, it's the best of both. It's an R rating that doesn't it doesn't take that R rating seriously. How some movies take it seriously. We're mature. We're for the adults. It doesn't do that. It uses the R rating to great effect.
It's very Troma. We're R rated and we are wildly immature about it.
Yep.
Which is funny because you could always kind of see that in the Guardians movies, that idea kind of poking through, but it could never quite go that way.
Yep.
This movie totally goes those places.
Yeah, it goes that the scenes stay on things a little bit longer than they would on the Guardians. If you stayed on some Guardian scene a lot longer, you'd see gross shit exploding and swear words and all that sort of stuff. Whereas this stays on it a little bit longer.
As the chat is saying, don't forget Cena's hog. Yes, a lot of comedy. Like, literally, one of the funniest jokes in the movie is just John Cena sitting there in his underwear, and that's just the joke. That's just the joke, that's how he sleeps and that's how he does it. In fact, there's another great joke before that where it's like, yes, Bloodsport, you'll be our new, Deadshot stand-in. You'll lead the team. You have military experience and you can turn anything into a deadly weapon. Well, why is Peacemaker here? He has military experience. He can turn anything into a deadly weapon.
Yeah, I like that. I like that being self-aware and everything. Because if this was the A film, it wouldn't do that.
No, it would not. The captain could my mom's review for the first 20 minutes. I thought this was the dumbest movie I'd ever seen. Then it really picked up after that. It does pick up. It picks up and it really doesn't stop.
No, it doesn't.
Because, like, I was really worried. I'm like, are they just going to, like, recreate the first, like, 15 minutes of the AR movie? Because it's a sequel and it's a do-over and it's a thing. It doesn't say or do anything that outright admonishes the original version and being like, no, this is completely different. It doesn't say it didn't happen, but it's one of those situations where, again, it's the best of both worlds. Did you like the first movie? Then it's a sequel. Did you not like it? Then it's a reboot.
Yeah. And as well as, like, there are parts where it feels like it's kind of trying to distance itself a little bit too far from the first one. Like in the first 10 minutes, Captain Boomerang ends up getting killed.
Yep.
And that was legit the death that shocked me the most, because I'm thinking, like, oh no, he's going to be in the movie for quite some time and he'll, like, end up escaping or something.
Likewise, because Jai Courtney was all over the promotion. I also very much thought that Jai was going to make it, but they do, honestly, something from the Suicide Squad comics, and that is, hey, they set you up with the team who you think is going to be the main team, and then they kill them right away in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, it was great, and I love the makeup of that first team, because you've got people like TDK, who's just completely fucking useless, but then you've got other people like Mongal, who's like Mongol's daughter, who's like a Superman level villain, basically. And it's just this combination of all these different, like, C and B and D list villains, and it just makes for a great time.
It's great too, because this movie, it is not ashamed of its comic booky origin. It is not ashamed to have aliens and monsters and, like, mutants all hanging out together. They even make a joke about that with Mongrel. It's like, hey, isn't she an alien?
Yeah.
Yes, she is, and now she's on the Suicide Squad. Deal with it. That's super funny. Pete Davidson just being Pete Davidson in a costume for a little bit.
For 5 minutes, then he gets his face blown off.
The first one to get killed, which, man, I really wanted to do this before it started. I wanted the fans and us to have, like, like a pool, like a betting pool, to be like, okay, who do you think is going to die first? And I would have said Pete Davidson is going to die first.
You could kind of tell he would die first.
And indeed he did, and just seemed like a good sport about the whole thing. But yeah, so I mean, that was really great. Just the whole fake out nature of the whole thing. They give Waller like an interesting change in that, she's doing basically what she always does, and that is she runs the back end of the operation. She threatens to blow up people's heads, but they also kind of give her like a cadre of underlings who get stuff to do, mainly Steve Agee, who of course is a friend of James Gunn and is in all his other shit.
I like that she's got like a little team now that, like, sort of oversees all the different aspects of, because I never really believed that, like, oh, Waller would be in charge of, like, the satellites and this and that and all that. She'd have, like, a team doing that for her, and it's great we actually get to kind of see that.
Yeah, but she arguably gets less to do in this movie than the first one, but that's fine because, it's not always about what Waller is doing back at the base. I think they give her just enough to do to reestablish her, where it's like, hey, Bloodsport, do what I want, or I'm going to have your daughter arrested and murdered in prison. How about that?
Yeah.
And of course, it's all part of a bigger conspiracy, and she's covering her own ass. That's a complaint I actually saw in a lot of reviews where they're like, oh, there's one too many, heel turns and one too many reveals. And I'm like, you never read the book, did you? That happened all the goddamn time.
Every fucking page was that.
Every page, and it's always Waller's fault, and it's always something else. It's never what it seems, and there's always one member who turns on the rest of the team, which they do in a really good fashion here.
They do, yeah.
I was genuinely surprised that I was surprised, but I really shouldn't have been surprised that Peacemaker was the one who ultimately turns on the rest of the team, because, peace at any cost. That means keeping this big Starro conspiracy quiet. I wasn't expecting it, because I knew he was going to be getting the HBO show. And I'm like, oh, well, they're going to want us to like him, right? They're going to want him to be the most positive, upstanding guy on the. Nope, actually.
Yeah, no, I thought it was it was going to be kind of like the opposite, where like when they get that drive and stuff, Peacemaker would be the one to want to out it because it would bring peace. It would like bring some sort of peace, and Rick Flag would be the one for his role, but they like switched it
in a rather interesting way.
Yeah, which led to fucking Rick Flag being killed.
Which was super unexpected. I'm like, no, you can't kill Joel Kinnaman. Who else is going to do your exposition if you kill Joel Kinnaman?
He was just getting good. What are you talking about?
He really was, right? That's the thing.
He was given really good dialogue to say and everything, not really shitty stuff.
Yeah, this is Katana, don't get killed. But yeah, the fact that he actually had something to do, and the fact that like he actually, you know, had a pre-existing relationship with Bloodsport and everything, and that he and Harley seemingly have developed an actual real friendship in between movies, or maybe they were always friends, who the hell knows. But yeah, I liked it, so when he does die, it actually hurts that much more.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame he did die, like, yeah, as I said, just when he was starting to get like a bit of character in the role, and people were starting to realize that Joel Kinnaman was a good actor. I knew he was because I watched him on For All Mankind, and he's fantastic in that. But yeah, it's like it's kind of sad. I mean, they could bring him back. He got a cyborg heart now or something, you know, or
some shit like that. As the chat saying he got MK X-Ray killed. Yes, he did. Yeah, the whole movie became Mortal Kombat for a minute. To really highlight that injury. I like that they were able to work in an in-universe reason for why he gets his trademark yellow t-shirt that he wears in the comics.
Yeah.
It's just shit a bunch of rebels had laying around.
Yeah.
Also, that actress who plays the rebel leader, hasn't she played like a South American rebel leader in like 10 other movies?
Yeah. She's the go-to woman, Alice Braga. She's been in like comic book movies as well. She was like the bad guy in New Mutants as well.
Oh shit, that's right. She's the bad armor in that bad movie.
Yeah.
That's right. See, I knew I'd seen her before, but yeah, she always, man, talk about an actress who's typecast. She's very good in it, but she's very typecast in that role. But yeah, so Peacemaker's a lot of fun. John Cena really getting to just like highlight all of his comedic chops and his action hero chops. He's just like, hey, I really want to be the next Rock, everybody.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that he was able to do that, and with like a character like Peacemaker, like a character like no one heard before this movie was announced.
Oh yeah,
no one heard about. You know, and now it's like some hugely popular comic book character. He's got his own TV show. He's like the star of this film and everything.
I know.
You know, Cena doesn't want to take off his costume because he might die or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Can we please talk about that Cena was so in love with this role and so in love with this costume? He wore it to all the nighttime talk shows. He wore it on Wipeout, that show he hosts with Nicole Bayer. He wore it to the premiere. Just does not want to take it. See, that's the wrestler in him, is what that is now. Gotta live your gimmick. Gotta live it 24/7. This is who I am now. I'm Peacemaker. I can't give it up ever.
Maybe this is his way of hiding from the Chinese government after he said all that Taiwan shit. They don't know it's him.
Quite possibly. Kali Frederick, I didn't see Taika Waititi's role coming. I really love King Shark and Polka-Dot Man. Polka-Dot Man's powers, whole deal, kind of freaked me out. Yeah, let's talk about Taika Waititi here, because that was the rumor for the longest time. Like, oh, who's he going to be? He's got a mysterious role in this thing. What's it going to be? A lot of people thought he was going to be voicing King Shark. A lot of people didn't know what he was going to be, and turns out he was actually Ratcatcher 1.
I thought he was going to voice Starro.
Oh,
going to be the voice of Starro, because it kind of like out of left field stuff. But yeah, I quite liked him as Ratcatcher. That was like the part of the movie where it kind of got serious for a minute there. It's like, hey, Ratcatcher 1, he was like a drug addict, but like he still loved his daughter, but like he loved crack more.
Yeah, a homeless heroin addict and everything who died with a needle in his arm. And I'm like, oh, fuck, that's pretty harsh for such a lovable character, actor.
Yeah.
But it makes a lot of sense, and it makes you much more sympathetic for Ratcatcher 2. I love they call her Ratcatcher 2, by the way, because that's such a comic book thing where it's like, oh, which Ratcatcher is it? Oh, Ratcatcher 2.
And it's like a great joke as well, because it's like, are you saying Ratcatcher 2 or Ratcatcher 2?
Yeah, exactly. It's very funny. The rat is hilarious.
When's Sebastian getting his own film?
I'd watch a Sebastian movie. Fuck Ratatouille. Get out of there, man. I want to watch the adventures of Sebastian.
Yeah.
Sebastian, the best judge of character in the whole movie. He knew Bloodsport, had a good heart deep
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that too, because there is actually like a fair amount of like animal imagery in this movie. We see caged birds and we see rats is a recurring theme all throughout the movie. And the birds are obvious because, you know, they're beautiful creatures who are forced to live in cages and everything, much as the squad themselves.
Well, yeah,
are
they really
caged.
play that up with Harley in that one,
Yes.
in that part, yeah.
Yes, when Harley gets essentially her own mini movie inside this movie.
Yeah.
When the whole movie stops to tell us another tale of Harley, which I would be mad about, except it's actually pretty good, and she's really good in it. We get
It's not obnoxious, yeah.
No, it really isn't. We get arguably one of the best action scenes of the movie, and probably the best action scene Harley has had in all of these DC movies put together. It's very John Wick-esque.
It is. It's very good.
Yeah, one big long hallway scene with like flowers and explosions. That's excellent. Her turn, basically the punchline to that scene where it's like the weird Central American dictator wants to marry her because it would be a great power couple thing, and she's like, nah, sorry, I can't do red flag relationships anymore. And it's like, oh, look, she's growing as a character and a person. This is funny. This is like something out of the Harley Quinn TV show.
Yeah, I'm gonna listen to my mind for once and like my gut feeling, and it's like, yeah, you're a bad fella.
Yeah, not gonna do it. Which I'm like, oh, so I guess we don't really have a main villain for the movie. Yeah, Starro's the villain, but Starro's kind of more of a force of nature. It doesn't really bother me that there's no real strong main villain in this because our heroes are villains.
Yeah, well, yeah. Again, the squad don't really have villains. They always have like a target.
Yeah, and even in the book, they don't really have like what is it, recurring foes. The closest thing they have to recurring original bad guys is the Jihad, and they're not going to use the Jihad in this.
No.
They don't even call them the Jihad anymore in the comics. I think they're called like the Maelstrom or something.
Yeah.
Because they looked at that and they're like, oh no, like even Ostrander by the end of his thing is like, oh yeah, I guess I can't use that word anymore, can I? That word means something different now than when I said it before. Uh-oh. It's also fun too because it means that Harley can basically go and have her own little adventure away from the rest of the team. And the rest of the team can just be the Suicide Squad from the comics.
Yeah, they're not worrying about her, like, having to find her. And there is a small part of that once they learn she's alive. But before that, they're like, yeah, we'll just do our own thing.
And it's like, it's fine, and it doesn't bother me, and I understand why they did it, because it's like, oh, Margot Robbie's been a really good team player for all these movies, hasn't she? So, yeah, I guess this is her reward. She gets a good subplot. A good subplot, and everyone's saying like, hey, can James Gunn just like do the next Harley movie, please? I'd watch it.
I would as well, yeah.
I'd watch it. I'd be totally for it. So yeah, we got all of them. We got Bloodsport, who is for all intents and purposes the main character.
Yeah, the Deadshot, but Will Smith couldn't come back, so they just, I think they were originally going to recast Deadshot as like Idris Elba was going to be Deadshot, and then like, we'll just make him Bloodsport just in case Will Smith wants to come back.
Which is fine by me, and it made more sense. And also, man, Idris Elba is really good in this. You forget what a strong leading actioner man he can be.
Yeah, he's great.
He's really good in this role, and didn't change his accent. Didn't feel he needed to America it up.
I'm glad. I'm glad he did. And yeah, I again, like, Bloodsport's another character they're like really pushing in the comics at the moment, and
they
like
sure are.
And they've like changed him to basically look like he is in this film at the moment, which I'm fine, because his old costume was kind of shit. It's just like a red bandana.
With a hat, with one of those little hats there. Kali Frederick, like how they slaughtered the rebels. Oh yeah, if you're just a regular mook in this, you get taken to town.
It's great. That whole rebel thing was so hilarious. They're like, oh, we're killing all these rebels. Oh, they're not actually the bad guys.
You know, it was a beautiful video game scene is what it was. Like, we've all played that part in the video game where you got to infiltrate the base and take everyone out stealthily, or else they'll, set the alarm.
Yeah.
It's cool too. What is it? Because in the comics, Bloodsport's deal was he had basically like a black hole, like a fucking Looney Tunes bag he could reach into and pull out any weapon he wanted.
Yep.
Here they kind of reimagine that in a cool way, in that he pulls pieces off his suit that becomes weapons, and then he can like put them together to become bigger Transformer weapons. I really liked it.
It's a great reimagining. So you don't have, it's kind of grounded as well. So because then it implies like, well, did he make those weapons? Is he like a really like smart guy? Is this like a suit he found or something? Or what's the deal with it?
It's clever. It's clever, and it reinvents the wheel in a way that you normally never see. Like usually when they do something like that, it's like, oh, it's dumb. They should have just gone with the original idea. But here it's like, no, that's good. That's like, actually keep that.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
In fact, one of the only like real like Easter eggs that I noticed is when they're all in the bar and they're all in civilian clothes. He has like a little hat, and it's like, oh, it's the little hat he wears in the comics.
Yeah, the little beret thingy.
Yeah, the little beret hat. Oh, that's fun. They thought enough to work that in, even though they reimagined everything else under the sun.
Yeah.
Who else do we have here in the cast? Oh, well, I guess we can talk about Ratcatcher 2 herself. Essentially, the heart of the movie, you could argue, in a lot of ways, she's pretty much playing the Mantis Palm Clementif character in like the, oh, aren't I like a manic pixie dream girl, but like a very good version of that.
She's a millennial.
She is. She's tired all the time. So fucking relatable. We're all tired right now. Finally, a character we can all get behind. Just someone who's tired and their father is dead.
Yeah, and obviously Bloodsport sees much of his daughter in her, so he kind of becomes like her mentor a little bit.
Yeah,
keeps an eye on her.
Ratcatcher 2, who actually makes it to the end. That's really surprising too. The characters who make it to the end and those who don't.
Like a lot of characters make it to the end, like more than I thought.
Yeah, really. Well, it's because they kill half the cast in the first 15 minutes.
But still, I expected like definitely Harley was going to make it. Peacemaker had to make it. And I was thinking maybe like Bloodsport would make it.
Yeah, Peacemaker makes it, but doesn't, because that's like a post-credit thing.
I kind of figured he would have to, because I was shocked at the amount of people who thought that like his show was a prequel. I'm like, I'm pretty sure they mentioned it was just going to be set after the movie.
They sure did.
Yeah, so they like see him get shot. I'm like, he'll be fine. He got shot with a small bullet. It's fine.
They have their cake and eat it too in a good way. Polka-Dot Man, who again greatly reimagined from his comic counterpart. Like in the comics, he's just like some weird golden age villain who decided to commit crimes one day. Here, he's like a failed superhero experiment with major mother issues.
Yeah, he's got a timely sort of reference there. He's got a interdimensional virus that he every two times a day he's got to like expel from his body, but he can control the dots and they like burn people up and melt them and everything.
Yeah, so basically we took Polka-Dot Man, a deeply silly character, and turned him into a horrifying, body horror character.
Yeah, and it works. It's great. David Dalmatian, whatever his name is.
That guy.
Yeah, he does fantastic in this role.
Sells the fuck out of it too. He's just this weird off-kilter, like deeply sad but funny.
Yep. Yeah.
He does a lot with a deeply silly character. He's basically exactly what I wanted him to be.
Yeah.
Exactly what I wanted to be. I guess the other major member of the team, of course, is King Shark, who I think they basically marry all the great versions of King Shark, and I never thought I'd say that, but there actually are quite a few good versions of King Shark now.
Yeah, they hint that he might be like the god version, or he's just like some fucking idiot who's like a shark. Who
knows?
Yeah, who knows? You never know with him because he is kind of an idiot.
Gail Simone gets a special thanks in the credits of this movie, and I'm like, well, yeah, of course, because they're just doing the Secret Six version of King Shark. Who's just dumb. I'm a shark. Can't do that to me because I'm a shark. He's also incredibly strong because there's very few like straight up metahumans on this team, but this guy's like damn near invincible.
Yeah, nothing seems to like hurt him except those like little fish things.
Yeah, those which were creepy as fuck. What a crazy scene that was.
That was great. What the fuck were they?
Yeah, I'm like, was that just another experiment they were working on in addition to Star? And I'm like, oh, is he the only one who can see those things? I'm like, nope, they're real.
That would have been funny if it's like, oh no, he's like tripping balls.
Yeah, exactly. He's fucking nuts. Oh yeah, as the chat saying they set up a giant Starro in London. I did see that. That's so fucking cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I would love to know where like the ghost of Gardner Fox is right now. It's like I made that. I made that. I never thought it would end this way.
It's
I
been
made
done
that.
justice.
Yeah, really. Holy shit. Oh yeah, as the chat mentions too, Milton. Of course, yes, the other
we
great
can't
addition
forget
to-
Milton.
Milton. Yeah, because there was a moment too where he's still running along behind them with like bombs and plastic bags. Like, where the fuck is the bus driver guy still with them this late in the
And
movie?
they make a whole joke about it.
Whole big long joke about it.
It's great. And then Harley thinks that Bloodsport is Milton.
Yeah, I thought that was your name, right? Which is a very Harley thing to do. Hey, your name's Milton, right? Thinker is in the movie too. He's all right. He doesn't have a lot to do. He's a traditional mad
He
scientist.
doesn't actually use his powers.
No, he doesn't. I mean, he's super smart, and that's just kind of what he does.
Yeah, but it's Peter Capaldi, and he's just like, yeah, walking around, and it's implied that he may have had sex with Starro.
Sure is. You could only do that in an R-rated movie. Getting into some Slither territory too. I liked his costume though. Tracksuit. Just more villains should just wear tracksuits.
Tracksuit and like the spark plugs in his head.
Which is very true to the comic. I love the madder he got, the more Scottish he got. It's like, no, I'm an intelligent British man. Look at me, you motherfucker. Just the angrier he got, the more Scottish he got. That scene is cool too, because that scene is like also like, ew, this is some pretty gross body horror.
I fucking loved all that body horror stuff. That was so cool. Like the stars like getting pulled off people's faces, and they're like skinned faces, and like keeping people alive when they're like cut in half, and it was all great.
Again, it's reminding you, oh yeah, this dude started doing Troma movies, didn't he? This was his bread and butter. This is Slither and everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is always fun to see. Again, I keep mentioning Troma. Lloyd Kaufman got his cameo when they go into the bar. What is it? Bloodsport pushes him aside.
Yeah.
If you wondered who that old white man was in that Central American bar, that was the owner, founder of Troma Films. There you go. Yeah, he did that. Then he went on that Blockbuster documentary and talked mad shit about Blockbuster for 5 minutes. Have you seen that? His segment in the Blockbuster?
I haven't. No.
Oh, if you watch nothing else, watch that. I think it's on Netflix right now. The Last Blockbuster. They're like talking to like, comedians and celebrities. So you got like Ron Funches and Kevin Smith. And they're like, oh, we loved Blockbuster. Oh, it was such an important part of, our childhood and growing up and everything, and so many happy memories. And then to balance it out, it's like, well, we need to find someone who hates Blockbuster. So they talk to Lloyd Kaufman, and he's like, Blockbuster fucked me every chance they could get. They never carried any of my movies. I fucking hate those pussies. It's just him swearing and being like, yeah, that's the Troma Phil guy right there. Yep, that's him. That guy gave us James Gunn. If not for this guy, there would be no James Gunn. Just him wildly talking shit about Blockbuster for 5 minutes. Check that out, everyone, if you're interested to see this. Someone saying Joel is going to be the next supervillain since his costume is a tracksuit. Ooh, don't tell nobody, MK Dragon. Don't tell nobody. But yeah, so the Starro plot is cool. Another cool thing the movie does is they actually arguably in some ways get more stylistic than even the Guardians movie did, because they actually borrow like comic book titling and everything, and like each chapter has its own title card.
That was really cool, yeah.
Very cool effect. Again, I think this is like the Spider-Verse effect we're seeing, where it's like, oh, you can actually be a super cool superhero movie and adopt more comic booky ideas.
It's not afraid to adopt the comics it's referencing.
Isn't that nice, right?
Yeah. It's not afraid. It's not embarrassed by it, or thinks that or the director thinks they can do better.
Which is basically this whole movie in a nutshell. It's like, hey, you know how you make a good Suicide Squad movie? Let's just do the Suicide Squad.
you read the comics first.
you do the thing people like. How about that? In fact, you even get the writer to cameo. Why not that?
Yeah.
That's good. The soundtrack, that's another thing, because obviously music is a big part of all, James Gunn's features. The soundtrack here is pretty good. I don't think it's Guardians good, but I guess maybe he was saving that for his other movie.
I think it fits well with like these characters. Like the Guardians are all like it's all like 70s and 80s sort of stuff, like space stuff like you'd expect. Whereas here it's kind of like a mixture of all different stuff. You got like I think there's like Kansas, and I think it's some Billy Joel.
It's all very chaotic. We
Yeah.
get Folsom Prison Blues in the
Yep.
beginning from
Yep.
Elvis, where I'm like, that makes sense. They are thankfully not all on the fucking nose this
No,
time.
no, no, and they're not like one after the other like in the first film.
Yes, they actually give time to breathe and have, the song stuff actually make a little bit more sense there and everything. My only mild complaint with the music is that I thought Dirty Work from Steely Dan was used excellently in the trailer, not in the movie.
And that would have been a bit too on the nose, I reckon, if it was in the movie.
I loved that so much, and I kept waiting for the moment. I'm like, come on, when are we going to get there? When are we going to get there? We didn't. As the Bagmaster saying, we did get a Pixies song. That's pretty good that we got a Pixies song in there. Some old-timey punk music in there. I guess the idea is that this is an eclectic team of people, and everyone has, like, the one song that is theirs for their one moment.
Yeah, and they're people from, like, all different age groups as well.
Also that.
Yeah. And there's also not that whole... story element like there is in Guardians, where it's like, oh, the songs are this because that's what's on the tape that Peter has.
It literally drives the plot because it's like so much of who he is and everything. Music is important in his life. Kylie Frederick, odds Ratcatcher 2 or BS pop up in Peacemaker show. Ooh, that would be fun if someone from the popped up in the show.
I could see maybe Ratcatcher 2, Bloodsport, maybe it'd be like a cameo, but I'd like to see just like something Peacemaker, something Bloodsport related elsewhere.
Yeah, I would definitely follow Bloodsport on like more adventures.
I'd like it like if they were to make like a show or something with him, I'd like it to be like the A-Team, where it's like he's like a one-man A-Team. It's like if you got any problems, you could call up this guy and he'll shoot the shit out of Sonic for you.
Bizarre critics saying, hey, they did mention Polka-Dot Man had siblings, so there's no telling if we won't get other Polka-Dot people.
Yeah.
That's funny too, Polka-Dot Man, who is driven by his mother and everything. That lady who is his mother, that has to also just be someone that James Gunn knows, right?
Yeah, someone from Troma or something.
Yeah, that has to be, because she has this look where it's like, you're not a professional actress.
Yeah,
you are like
a character actor.
Yeah, you're like a really serious character actor, or like, are you a friend of James Gunn's mom? Is that why he put you
had a very
here?
specific look about it.
Very, like, you are a real person. You are not a Hollywood person. You are an actual real person. Which Troma was famous for doing that too, not hiring actors and hiring real people.
Yeah.
Which is why their movies are so fucking weird and so, like, cut deep the way they do, where it's like, oh, that person's not acting. You just, like, hired a crazy person and put you in there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I mean, that's really good. It's fun too that Waller's people turn on her at a point, which is a nice little inverse of what happened in the first movie, where Waller literally kills all her people. I kept waiting for that moment to happen again. I'm like, oh, when does Waller turn on her people and kill Steve Agee? No, actually,
I figured she'd probably try and kill them after they turned on her, but she doesn't really.
No, it's
maybe
like,
they're too important or something.
I'm punishing you by sending you to HBO Max.
yeah. Steve Agee and this other woman, you're going to HBO Max with John Cena.
I banish you from this realm to the app. Man, Steve Agee is fucking huge.
He's really fucking tall.
I never thought he was that big because he's always sitting down or he's always playing like diminutive characters. But Jesus Christ, Steve Agee is fucking huge.
Yeah.
If you take nothing else from this, let that be the Comic Multiverse quote on the back of the movie when it comes out on DVD. The Comic Multiverse, Steve Agee is huge.
Are they gonna have to like do like the Hobbit thing with him and like John Cena? Because John Cena's like 5'9" or something.
Really, I thought he was bigger than that.
I think he's pretty short.
I mean, hey, he was a Vince McMahon top guy, which makes you think you don't get to be a top guy unless you're bigger. I mean, he's a massive mountain of a man.
Maybe it's just the way he's shot. It makes him look bigger or something. I always thought he was like a little bit shorter than a lot of people. I swear I've seen him stand up. Maybe it's just because he was next to The Rock or something.
According to his Wikipedia page, he's 6'1".
Okay.
But then again, he's a guy who does wrestling and acting, which is just putting giant men next to other giant men. So you see,
that's true.
Small by comparison.
Yeah.
So that's always the thing with it. Word too, apparently for that Peacemaker show, they want to do a version of Vigilante for that because
Yeah.
Peacemaker was actually resurrected in a Paul Kupperberg Vigilante book like back in the 80s.
Yeah, they've cast Vigilante for that show, yeah.
Oh, cool, man. Which means I got to do a video on him at some point. There's been 10 goddamn Vigilantes.
Yeah, which one's it gonna
Yeah,
be?
they're 10 vigilantes and they're all forgettable. Someone in my chat said it perfectly. It's like, never did I think a character so obscure could have an origin this long and complicated. Yeah, I know, right? Aren't comics fun? Cosmic Reject saying on the Sarah Silverman show, Steve Agee was called a giant red stoner. Yes, yes, he is. He's like big stoner Hagrid. Love Steve Agee. But Steve Agee's the kind of guy who I bet we could get on the show, actually, because he just does the podcast circuit.
Yeah.
Get him here, pick his fucking brain. What's it like working on these projects? So yeah, the music is good. The stylistic flares they use are pretty cool and also very different than Guardians. I'm glad this wasn't just like a carbon copy of that. It was its own thing.
Yeah. Everyone gets their like moment to shine at one point or another. Yeah, no one's left out.
It's a team movie that actually feels like a team movie. Which was one of my biggest complaints about the first one. That, it's like it's called the Suicide Squad, but they're only interested in like 3 people.
Yeah, or not even that. They're only interested in Harley because like they demote so much of that plot to like Joker and all that sort of stuff.
And everyone else is just kind of here. It's funny too, this movie has them fighting like real military people and everything, and at the end they also fight zombies again. So it's kind of like a better retread of the zombie plot from the first one too.
One that's a bit more like steeped in like comic book lore and everything. It's like it makes a little bit more sense, and it's a lot better than that character belly dancing in front of a green screen.
See, that's the problem with this movie there. Peter Capaldi should have done more belly dancing. Then the movie would have been an A+, 10 out of 10, instead of just really good. It's funny, too, with Starro, is they know I'm the force of nature, big evil baddie and everything, yet, shockingly, right at the end, they actually infuse Starro with a surprising amount of sympathy, and it's like, oh, you were a prisoner, too. We're all prisoners, doing shit we don't want to do.
As it says, it just wants the island. Like, it just wants, like, a place to live by the sounds of it. So it's like, like, if this was, like, a different movie, like an Avengers or, like, a Justice League, they probably would have left it and, like, just kept an eye on it. But, like, because this is, like, villains, they're like, no, we're going to send Harley Quinn into its eyeball.
To stab you with, Javelin's javelin, which I like. That is a surprisingly interesting, like, thread that ties through the whole movie. This guy dies who Harley just met. He's Falula Borg. He's fucking crazy. Take my thing because you need it and because Harley's crazy. Like, okay, I guess I will then.
Yeah, I guess I need this for something. And it's like, I guess that thing was just stab like a giant starfish alien in the eye.
And it becomes her trademark weapon throughout the movie because I guess she can't carry around her big hammer.
Yeah. Or a bat or something, yeah.
Or something like that. Hey, that dress she wears, you can buy that at Hot Topic right now.
Oh, can you? That was another thing I mentioned like a week ago. Because our version of Hot Topic, which is a lot better than Hot Topic here, and it ended up getting like a bunch of like Suicide Squad merchandise. I'm like, those are shirts I would actually want to wear and not be embarrassed about.
It's true. The merch roll-up for this was really good. None of it is overly obnoxious.
Yeah, it's not try hard. No fucking damaged Joker anywhere to be seen, which thank God.
No. Yeah, like that original Suicide Squad, love it or hate it, they were doing a very purposeful thing in this like try-hard ICP dirtbag aesthetic that they were really trying to go into. Here it's like, here it actually, like you said, I wouldn't feel embarrassed wearing this.
Yeah, they had a really cool King Shark one that was like this, kind of looked like a tourism promo with like a big like setting sun and everything, and he's just standing undercover waving, and I'm like, I'd want to wear that. That's pretty cool.
That's a good one. There's another one I saw. It's like I think it's the Japanese poster is what it is. So it's basically like a kaiju monster movie with Starro in the background and everything, and the team down below, and then the kanji and everything. So that's fun.
Nice.
That was definitely fun. That's one I want to get. They have those little blind box versions of them that actually look pretty adorable, and they're actually like better designed than your average Funko. I'm not
Okay.
that kind of person who normally gets blind boxes, but I would totally get those.
Okay, cool.
Also, hey, thanks, Pat Senior, for the subscription.
Nah, thanks.
That's always good. Someone saying, hey, did you see the hashtag one villainous scene playlist? Yeah, a lot of my friends did that, and I didn't get invited to it.
What was it?
I think like a bunch of YouTubers got together and their deal was like, hey, basically do a video essay on your favorite villainous movie scene.
No, okay, yeah.
It looked like a cool idea. All I could think is like, hey, I didn't get invited to that.
Yeah, hey, what about us?
Yeah, well, now I'm not going to watch any of it then. So that's your answer, Nathan. That's your answer. Joel didn't get invited. No, he's not going to watch it. Petty like that. What was there some fun stuff we liked about this movie? Because I feel like there is like tons of little stuff that we could pick out about it.
We've covered quite a bit of it.
I guess a good answer. Here's the thing. So the ending I enjoyed, where what is it? Bloodsport basically gets one over on gets one over on Waller and everything, and is going to disseminate all the information, unless they're let free or everything. I'm like, oh, that's a good, strong, definitive ending, and yet also it's so like. It almost runs the opposite of your average Suicide Squad story, because your average Suicide Squad story is like, no, even when they win, they still need to go to jail, though, because you need to come back for another issue. Here they win, and it feels good, and their like character arcs are all done, and what is it? Oh, thank you, Ruiz Rodriguez, much appreciated for that. And he. And what is it? Like Bloodsport learns to live with the rats and everything. He overcomes his trauma. Everyone overcomes their trauma and everything, and it's really nice and really sweet. And everything there too, and then I'm like, oh, this is great, but we can't have this team back in the next movie though.
I'd be fine with that. I'd be fine with like if they do another film with James Gunn, it's a completely different team with like a holdover like Harley Quinn, and then make that the joke. She got out, but she got arrested again for some because that's kind of the joke here. She got arrested for a fender bender, quote unquote.
Yeah, it's like, hey, did I need to see Birds of Prey? Nah, it's good.
Nah, yeah, you don't need to see that film.
You don't need to see Birds, but you don't even need to see the first one. She's just here. It's fine.
Yeah. No, I'd like to see if it was like, or even like a different director, like follow on and with like a whole new team of like members, but with just like Waller being like the mainstay.
It's really how it should be, because that's how the comics were forever and ever.
Exactly. Yeah.
And again, it means that you can decide who you want to like really elevate as a D-lister villain next time. To kind of make them a big deal and whatnot. And I know Gunn had like a whole like binder of villains he wanted to use, and that Warner Brothers and DC kind of had to sign off of and everything. So it would definitely be fun to see him come back for another outing and have it be like, okay, do whatever you want now.
Yeah, I think he's probably going to get carte blanche after this one, because it's kind of universally acclaimed at the moment. Like apart from like the usual suspects, I don't see anyone actually really hating this film.
Yeah, I haven't heard anyone say they didn't like it either, which is super cool, because it's like, hey, when was the last time a DC movie came out and everyone liked it universally?
Yeah.
Almost never happens, and I'm sure that's worth more than any box office to them, though I imagine we'll have to talk about the box office thing. All the entertainment rags today were quick to be like, oh, bombs at box office, oh, Suicide Squad underperforms, and it's like, hey, people retweeting this and actual news sites writing about this, there's still a deadly virus ravaging the earth right now, and most of us can't leave our houses.
Yeah, well, like it's a perfect example. Like here in Australia, we were just getting ready for this film to actually come out in cinemas, and like 3 days before, we all got put in lockdown. Couldn't go to the cinemas or anything. So not much you can do about that.
Yeah, it really is like, the fuck did you expect? And also, when you give people the option to watch at home, a lot of people are going to choose to watch it at home.
Yeah.
Like I did. I'm going to like fucking order DoorDash and sit here in my underwear.
I'm going to watch it on my big 4K TV. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, we've mentioned this time and time again. It's like the theater is quickly becoming like, the theater's going to have to step up its game, because most of us have as good or better.
Offer me something a little bit more,
Yeah. really offer me something more to get me out of the house, especially now when leaving the house is potentially dangerous.
Mhm.
And yes, what is it? I'm double vaxxed and everything, but still.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I've not even had any of my vaccinations yet because the
Sucks.
country's fucking all that up. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Because the Australian government is telling you to get vaxxed out of the one side of its mouth while not procuring
Yeah,
enough for
yeah,
everybody.
yeah, yeah.
And then standing there like, what do you want from us? What do you want from us? To do your goddamn job is what we want.
Yeah.
To say nothing of the countries where people can get vaxxed and a lot of people are choosing not to.
Yeah.
Which that's a whole other conversation there. But yeah, Suicide Squad. Yeah, a lot to enjoy with this one. I don't know if I like it more than I like the two Guardians movies, but I will say this is probably the truest, most, probably the truest, most honest recreation of a Suicide Squad comic book.
Yeah, yeah. This is you're probably not going to get any better than this.
Yeah, like this is probably as close to a perfect adaptation as you're going to get.
Yeah.
And it's so cool that they were willing to let this guy come in and do this. And this is basically, I think, and I know they've said this 100 times, hey, it's a fresh start for DC films. It's a
every new film is a fresh start for DC films.
I know.
This one probably might stick. This one and like your Shazam 2 and your Black Adam. We're moving away from all of that Snyder stuff.
We can only hope. We can really, really only hope that this is, the sign of something good, where it's like, hey, if you just do the material from the book and pick, a director and actors who are interested and motivated and everything, you can make something good, and you don't need to chop it to pieces in editing, and you don't need to pass it off to a trailer house to edit.
Yeah, I will say hopes if you pick directors and stuff who aren't kind of egotistical dickheads.
Yeah.
They're aware of their skill, and they have their skills that they excel in, and they use them to great advantage.
Yeah, just maybe
just a little bit,
just maybe. Where do you think the series could potentially go from here, now that we have basically this fresh start and this fresh jumping up? But what would you like to see for Suicide Squad 3, whatever they would end up calling it?
Well, I have a feeling that it's probably going to depend on that Peacemaker show, because that could easily lead into like a Suicide Squad 3 or whatever's next for that. But yeah, as I said, like I wouldn't mind Gunn getting a completely new team going forward, and maybe like Peacemaker is like the only holdover or something. Peacemaker and like Harley Quinn are like the only,
gotta have one.
Only holdovers, and they're like the leaders of the team and stuff. And maybe I'm not sure what you do for a threat though.
It's true. It's rough. Here's something I would like to see. Obviously, we killed Jai Courtney. We killed Boomerang in this one. In the comics, he has a son who also becomes Captain Boomerang. I would like to see him maybe be the POV character.
That'd be pretty cool. Yeah. Or what you do is like, because he died for the squad, maybe do it so that like, oh, this like other country, like, what's the one that's always getting in fucking shit in DC, starts with an M.
Not Karak, though. I think they actually do mention Karak in this.
Markovia or whatever the fuck it's called.
Oh yeah, Markovia. Yeah.
They fucking make their own Suicide Squad, and fucking he joins the team to like get revenge on Task Force X for killing his father.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time Markovia does that. Obviously, they got a history with Geoforce and the Outsiders and Batman and everything.
Yep.
So that's definitely an option. That's definitely a place they could go with it. That would be fun. Some other villains that they could do for a Suicide Squad thing. Again, if you wanted to do the Maelstrom / Jihad, but again, you would probably have to change it up a bit. The idea being we're kind of like the Suicide Squad. We're a team of terrorists, but we're like, morally obligated terrorists?
Yeah. Fuck it. Do like what the most recent Suicide Squad's doing is be like, we're going to go to Earth 3. Yeah, we're gonna fuck around with the crime syndicate.
Yeah, start crossing universes. Why not? Hell, do the Tom Taylor run where it's like, yeah, we're the revolutionaries, and the Suicide Squad ruined our lives in one way or another.
Yeah,
and we want to,
with that as well, you could bring back Bloody Black Mask and Ewan McGregor.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, do something like that. Yeah, give him a chance. Give him another chance in a new movie.
Yeah, he was a shining light in that film.
He was fun. Yeah, he was fun, just, totally hamming it the fuck up.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that because yeah, you could totally save some of this stuff. Someone said Bialia and Queen Bee. Yeah, you could send
Hmm.
them to Bialia. That would be
Yeah,
interesting.
I was thinking about that just before. Yeah.
Bialia would be a good place to send them. Maybe do something where it's like, oh, we're sending you to fight Intergang in Metropolis. They've stolen a bunch of apocalyptic
They
weapons.
just have to deal with crime. Yeah.
Just do it like regular crime and everything. Do like a more street level version of the story
Hmm.
because that's what's so cool about the Suicide Squad. It can be anything you need it to be.
That's
It
the
can be a war movie.
That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, you get them fighting Intergang, and it ends up being like the Warriors.
Yeah,
They
something
got
like
they got
that.
to get to Coney Island.
Oh, that's actually really good with the Suicide Squad. Oh, I like that. Yeah, something goes horribly wrong. Maybe they kill Bruno Ugly Mannheim, so Shimmer puts out a bounty on them, and they have to fight like every gang and two-bit supervillain in
Yeah,
Gotham City. They got to make it across town to the
they got
evac.
they got to fight like all the villains that like come out of the woodwork. You're like Metallos, your Toymans,
Oh yeah.
all these villains that just come out of the woodwork because the bounty's so high.
That's oh man, Matt. I think again, if come on, if they can riff on like old, friggin' movies like this, like old cheapo Red Brown war movies, yeah, I think they can, riff on the Warriors a little bit.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Do a no man's land thing, like oh, this superhero city, due to some big fight with like the Justice League, got cut off from the rest of America, but we need to send you in because reasons.
I could see, yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Although I can guarantee if that was something that would happen, they'd be complaining about, oh, it's like Army of the Dead and Snyder, and
Mm.
because that's basically what Army of the Dead was.
Like, hey, that was an idea before he did it, right?
No,
You know,
he invented the idea of ideas.
Oh, right, of course. Yes,
Yeah,
it was nothing without him.
yeah.
I know Idris Elba said he actually would like to do something with Superman. I'm like, well, yeah, of course you would. Who wouldn't?
I don't think they should like invest time in that. I just love the idea of the fact that like I just like I'm picturing in my head as like a cutaway where he just like one day decides I'm just gonna shoot Superman and just sets up a sniper rifle and just shoots him as he's like flying off. He like sets like a house fire or something and just like
Yeah,
shoots him and Superman just falls from the sky and that's the end of the cutaway.
yeah. Ah.
Yeah, that's it. Like, I did it because I could.
Why? Superman just sitting there. Why?
There was
Why
no
would
like
you do that?
ulterior motive. Lex Luthor or anything didn't pay him or anything. He
Nah.
just did it because he was bored.
Because he loved it so much. Oh yeah, the chat said the Calendar Man controversy. You mean the no
Oh
controversy
fuck!
because Sean Gunn played a funny version of the Calendar Man who got a good line in there and
James
people
Gunn
were
should have stopped
pissed.
the film and done a beat for beat long Halloween remake in that
Recreation.
cutaway. He should have done that because he'd done a disservice to Calendar Man and his billions of fans.
Yeah, oh yeah. I'm so glad you said it, Matt. So there is not a jerk off motion big enough in my arm for the jerk off motion I have in my heart. Never have I gotten to say touch grass, but seriously, if you're one of those people saying that without a hint of irony, go touch some grass. I would really, really like you to touch some grass. Saying, hey, what if they got Deathstroke in the next one? I'm sure Joe Manganiello would like to be in it.
Yeah, Joe Mango. Yeah.
Joe Mangoes. Joey Mangoes from the street. I love you, Joey Mangoes.
Yeah,
Actually,
I'm sure he'd love to come back.
did he keep the costume? Again, I can
I feel
understand
like
wanting
he
to do
probably
it
did.
because it would be a shame to let that costume go to waste.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see him actually be directed and given lines to speak as that character. And not
Because he did
just
look the part.
yeah, but that's the thing. He looked the part and he just stood around, didn't say anything.
And he looked the part though. They could because there was that Suicide Squad run with like what is it? The other Reverse Flash from the New 52, Harley Quinn, Joker's daughter, Black Manta. You could adapt that story because Deathstroke was on that team, and everyone's like, well, "What the fuck is he here? He's a mercenary." So yeah, we're paying him.
Yeah, I'd rather they stay away from the New 52. That run was AIDS.
It was a better. It wasn't quite the new. It was like the tail end of it where it was like slightly better.
Yeah.
It didn't start good. It got better when you could tell people stopped paying attention to it. And he's like, oh, cool, I can write whatever I want. Oh, I'm actually going to tell a really interesting story about the Reverse Flash sacrificing himself to save a bunch of people from superhero ISIS. and like Harley's gonna actually feel bad about it. And there was actually that was a good run right at the end, but everyone had stopped reading at that point.
Yeah, yeah.
Kali Frederick again, sad for the end, but I'm super hyped for Immortal Hulk 50. Also, thoughts on J.K. Simmons maybe coming back for Batgirl. I think Miss Martian could join the squad. Oh, yeah, that's right. There's a whole big deal now. They're not sure if J.K. Simmons is going to be involved in this new Batgirl movie, which apparently they cast their Batgirl. But as with all these new DC projects, I'm like, yeah, trailer, it didn't happen.
Yeah, yeah. And as well, the person they cast, like, it makes sense if she's Batgirl with Jeffrey Wright's like
Yeah.
like like when I saw the cast, I'm like, oh, they're casting for like Jeffrey Wright's Barbara Gordon sort of thing, but apparently not. You know,
who knows? Again, I think this is another one of those things where it's like, oh, J.K. Simmons looked good in the role and he didn't get a chance to do anything. Can we have a chance for him to do something?
Yeah, no, that was squandered as usual with most of Snyder's stuff. Yeah, okay.
We're already moving on. We're already moving on to other things. Okay. That's a shame. I guess just moving right along. Moving right along. So yeah, I mean that's really the long and short of the movie. We enjoyed it. It had a lot going for it. I'll definitely watch it again.
Yeah, it's definitely got some rewatchability to it. Just because it's a fun action film, there's probably some stuff in it I missed the first time.
True. Rebel friend there saying that run was age is such a t-shirt worthy line. Well, tell you what, Matt, I think you got something for the new t-shirt shop.
I think I do.
It's a little animated picture of your face, and that's your speech bubble. That's the speech bubble. No one will get it except for us. I mean, yeah. Any closing thoughts? Anything else on this one? I mean, just I liked it a whole lot.
I really enjoyed it. Yeah, and hopefully, like we've probably said this like a dozen times now, but I hope this is just like the turn that the DC movies need. I feel like a broken record saying that, because I say that probably for every film other than Snyder's films. Like but it does feel like this is like, oh, this is the direction they're going in. That's cool.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
It's all.
What
it's
is
all
the
we
next
can hope for.
DC film? I guess it's the Batman.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess that one got delayed and everything, but yeah, I guess the next one will be the Batman.
Yeah, and then we got your Shazams and your Black Adams. Yeah, we got quite a fair bit coming out.
Yeah, I mean, the Batman looks like it has a lot of good opportunity to, kind of, I was going to say reignite interest in Batman, but who the fuck am I kidding? Everyone's interested in Batman. Even if it sucks, everyone goes and sees it anyway because it's goddamn Batman.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Even the worst Batman still has defenders because it's Batman.
Yeah.
And I mean, this one actually looks pretty solid. This one looks like, it looks, as we said before, it looks like every fan film we've ever seen. But, that's not bad.
No, yeah, it's got like a tone that suits for Batman. And yeah, then after that, we got like Shazam and all that. And I'm really excited for that because, pretty much everyone from the first film, the director, the writers and everything is all coming back for that. So, yeah.
We loved the first Shazam. Yeah. So, I mean, here's hoping they have a little bit more leeway and a little bit more control.
Yeah, Black Adam should be pretty good. Because we got Black Adam, we got the JSA and all that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we got all that. That's going to be stacked, isn't it? There's got a lot going on.
Flash is coming out. I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah, Flash. The subtitle might very well be The Flash, We're Sorry.
Yeah. Did you hear like the villain of that film's going to be a darker Barry Allen? And I'm like, just do Reverse Flash. That character exists. You know, right? That character exists.
There's multiple versions of it. There's that.
I like to think that there was some exec who's like, what if we do a character who is Barry Allen but the reverse, and his costume's the reverse of we will call him Reverse Flash, and there's like some intern there who just wants to tell them that character has existed for like 80 years. Man,
I stopped watching that Flash TV show. I'll have to go back. I know you.
Don't.
I know you said this season's been rough.
Don't save yourself. Don't
save it.
The last the show, you've probably seen that clip of like the Flash family fighting all of the Godspeeds. It's there's that. That was the second part. That was the first part of the finale. Yeah, where they're fighting like Reverse Flash and Flash fighting Godspeed with fucking lightsabers, and then there's like a Power Rangers fight that Power Rangers looks like it would do a lot better. It was horrible. It was so horrible.
The episode I stopped was then they're like, oh, we gotta go back in time to steal some Speed Force energy. Because
it was that fucking Chuck and fucking what's his name, Cisco and all that going back in
Yeah.
time. Yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm
I
just
hated that. That was like I
yeah.
think the episode where I'm like, okay, this season's doing nothing.
Yeah, well, that was the episode where I'm like, I don't have to come back for another episode. I'm gonna give this a week because that's maybe the worst episode of the show I've
It
ever
was
seen,
pretty
and I
bad.
like the show. And I'm also too, I'm like, oh, this reeks of COVID. This reeks of we can't
Mhm.
do anything,
Yeah.
so we need to do this.
They did the exact same for Supergirl, where it's like, okay, we can't have all these people on the sets. Well, now that I'm thinking of it, they did the exact same thing in Supergirl. They went back in time as well because they needed to get something. Holy shit! Holy shit!
Wow.
I'd completely forgot from my mind. Holy fuck! They just like used the same scripts. They use. Oh my god! Holy shit!
Actually, come to think of it, Legends also had a "Let's go back in time to an old episode," but for that show, it actually makes sense because they're always going back in time.
It makes sense for that. Holy shit!
And they were also only in one room and never left the whole episode.
Oh yeah, COVID's really buggered these series up, which is it's a shame for Supergirl because it's its final season as well.
Yeah.
So maybe these last couple of episodes, because they just finished filming like yesterday.
Yeah.
So maybe the last episodes will be good, but yeah, Flash was like a total write-off.
Legends comes back tonight, actually, I think.
Yeah, Superman and Lois does as well. Stargirl does.
Oh, really? Stargirl
starts on the 11th. What If starts on the 11th.
Nice. Gonna be a good time.
The finale of Bad Batch is this week.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Can we talk about Bad Batch for a minute there? So, yeah, they blew up the Camino cloning facility, and I actually got a little choked up like they killed a character because I'm like, wow, we've had this place for how fucking long?
I was convinced we're going to get like a siege on Camino, like a clone uprising or something with that. But I'm like glad they kind of like swerved there and like, no, we're just going to blow up the whole place and like sink it into the ocean.
Fair enough, because it's like, yeah, I love, what is it, Admiral Rampart there is like, yes, we have taken all the cloning technology. We will now sit on it until it is important for the plot many movies later. And do nothing with it until then.
But I really liked like the like a lot of like the Clone Wars and the Bad Batch stuff. There's like a lot of like World War II like analogies where they've captured the scientists and they're like taking them off to I don't know, Project Paperclip or whatever the fuck they're gonna do in the Star Wars universe with the Caminos.
Yeah.
And everything. And I liked it as well how like creepy Camino looked. Like it was just empty and it was white, and then like the power goes off and it's all dark and it looks real creepy.
Nice touch. Yeah, I liked all that stuff. They really threw some retcons at us kind of quick there, where it's like, yes, this is the lab where I Omega was born, and where your abilities were enhanced. So it's like, oh, so they're not just regular defectives; they're super special defectives.
Well, see, I saw that as like, oh, they've been told they were defective, like that's like the story. Yeah, they've been lied to, where they were like, oh, they're not defective, they're like super soldiers that they were testing on.
That actually makes a lot more sense. Also, Crosshair's big reveal there, where it's like, aha, I cut my chip out.
I was always a dick.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, but no, but they hooked you up to the machine though. They hooked you up to the machine and turned up your evil. So how did that happen? And also, they had to cut theirs out. So how did you know to cut yours out when they didn't know?
We might get that explored like next episode or the second season or something. So. But yeah, I have to imagine like he probably found out about it and just didn't give a shit.
Yeah, because I'm not going to call that a plot hole because everyone, is so quick to yell plot hole, but it's definitely like, okay, you have to explain this, though.
Yeah, that feels like set up for like, we're going to explain this a little later on.
I did like his ultimate reasoning where it's like, and you didn't come back for me. Yeah, because you were crazy and had your chip turned out. No, I cut my chip out. And also you saved like several people from their chip since then. And he's like, oh, he's got us there, doesn't he? Yeah, we did do that, didn't we?
Yeah. That little team up they had in the training room was pretty cool.
That again, that's called narrative symmetry. The season started in the training room and then it ended in the training room.
Poetry.
So that it rhymes, although we actually mean it and it actually makes sense this time. And yeah, that show's getting a second season, so that's pretty cool. Yeah,
that was announced recently as well. I'm glad.
Yes,
glad that was as well.
Especially too because Bad Batch is like, it's Bad Batch, but we can also do whatever the hell we want.
And it's also, it might follow like the same trend as like all these other animated shows have, where it's like the first season is pretty good, but second season's where it gets really fucking good.
Yeah, because they figure out the technology, they figure out what they're doing.
Yep.
I really want to see Omega actually get to meet Boba in this universe.
That'd be pretty cool.
To see if he even cares.
Yeah, because she's technically his sister.
Also, too, as I said before, because we know Cad Bane's running around and Cad Bane's I wonder if they will recreate the episode that they did that story reel for but never finished, that explains that Boba got the little dent in his helmet from a duel with Cad Bane.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's such like a little thing though. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, people always complain about like all these little things tying together makes the universe seem so small. It's like, but they want this as well. Yes. It's like, does it really matter how he got that little dent on his head?
It absolutely doesn't. I'm being a horrible nerd about it. Much in the
same. I'd like if he like, I'd like love it if it's revealed that like, oh, he's in the episode with the Bad Batch and they like hit his jetpack and he just like shoots up into the roof and gets the dent on his head or something.
That's how it happened. And now you know the story of that story, everybody. Yeah, Ted Lasso continuing to be good to this season as well.
This week's episode really surprised me because it's like, no, we're going to tackle like real world like things.
Yeah, wow, I was not expecting that. I was also expecting more people to be pissy about it, to be like, "Ooh, Ted Lasso is political now, so I hate it."
Say no, the power of Ted.
Power of Ted.
Or Led Tasso.
Yeah, very strong. His Bizarro World version. Yeah, that show is great, and that show makes me want tea all the time.
Dirty brown water, you mean?
Yes, absolutely. When they're there at the high tea there, and they leave, and I'm like, no, stay at the high tea. Those cakes look delicious. Where you go? Oh, they left. Shit. This is how I watch everything. People, no, don't leave the food on the table. And they're gone. Damn. I finished Mayor of Easton this week too. Man, that was a good show.
Yeah, it was good.
Real good show. Real solid neo-noir mystery.
Nice. I got to get around to watching that.
It has a really good twist, and I would say watch it now before anyone spoils it.
Yeah, well, it's been out for a while now, so like no one spoils it for me. Mainly because I haven't been paying attention to it. But,
feels like people have been protecting it. And also, too, the guy whose show ran that show got a new comic book show of some kind. He's going to be adapting something.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I can't remember what it is, but it's something we like, and I'm like, ooh, that's good. I'll have to watch that. I know it feels like that's happening more and more now. Like, hey, this guy from this show you like got a comic book thing now.
Yeah, or it's the other way around. This guy from this show you like got a comic book thing, and now he's writing comic books.
Yep, that happens a lot too. Hey, Christopher Cantwell.
Yeah.
Ooh,
hi, John Ridley.
That too. Hey, so I guess there wasn't like a lot of like news this week, but there was like the trailer for Why the Last Man.
Yeah, it looks great. About time it came out. It feels like that show and like Lock and Key were in like development for like years.
Forever. Yeah, I know. People are saying you will never see this adapted. This will never be a thing.
Yeah. I can like vaguely remember when Why the Last Man was just going to be like a movie.
Yeah, I know. I remember the same thing.
Yeah.
Yes, Tevye, we're not going to talk about Titan 3 because I don't watch it and Matt doesn't like it.
I don't give a shit about it.
As we've said many times, the closest connection I have to the show is, the showrunner writer actually follows me on Twitter because he also writes comics.
Brian Edward Hill.
Yeah, Brian Edward Hill, who is a super nice guy. I'm sorry I don't like more of your things, Brian, because you genuinely seem to be a really nice human being, and I feel we would get along. I'm sorry I shat all over your Detective Comics run. I'm sorry I didn't read Outsiders, and I'm sorry I didn't like that Miles book that you wrote that forced you to retcon all the Bendis stuff out when they were mad at Bendis. Only to undo it later on.
Yeah.
He seems to have a good attitude about it. It's like, hey, man, what are you going to do? Work's work. Which is totally how I would do it, too. It's like, oh, they asked me to do it, so I did it. Is that it? Is that everything for this week? Is that all there is to talk about?
I think so, yeah.
Has anything broke while we talk? I feel that always happens. Like news fucking breaks while we're talking.
I don't think so. Oh, fucking Trevor Moore died the other day.
Oh yeah, Whitest Kids You Know. Yeah, that was sad. He was really young too, wasn't he?
He was like 40 something. Yeah, it was very sudden.
40. That's fucking really sad.
Yeah.
That is unfortunate. See someone so young and so talented die so young. That fucking sucks.
Yeah, I don't think there's any more More news. I don't think anything broke. You watch. We're gonna press like end on this, and it's like something happened.
Yep, that's always.
DC Comics is closing. Ethan Van Sciver was right.
What? Oh, impossible. Here, I'm actually going to the fucking website now. Oh, here's another thing that's tangentially connected to Suicide Squad. I love, DC Comics rarely gives a shit about it, but this month, when a movie came out, 3 Suicide Squad books came out in 1 week.
Yeah. It was insane.
Yeah, we got the Get Joker,
and they all had like characters that were in this film as well. Usually that doesn't happen.
Yep, very, very pointed. I got to read that King Shark miniseries from Tim Seay. I bought it. I breezed through it. And I'm like, oh, he brought back Defacer, Nightwing's girlfriend from his run. Oh, that's fun. And then I never got a chance to get to it.
That's the only one I haven't read. I read the other 2. I read Got Joker and got like violently mad at it.
Yeah,
just because it's a Black Label book that censors all of the swearing, and it's not as violent as like some of the other fucking books that were out this week that were just normal comics,
Yeah, it's really weird. If you get Malieve and Azzarello on a book and it's not extra gross and extra bloody, then you really fucking missed the ship, didn't you?
Yeah, it just really, really fucking angered me.
It did have one kind of clever idea, though, and that is, what if the Russian government was secretly funding supervillains to help destabilize America?
It was pretty. No, the actual story is actually quite fun. It's quite good, but yeah, that Black Label thing really got to me, Ben. And I like as well that like Wild Dog is now like, it's like, oh yeah, he was like there at the insurrection at the Capitol, and like he's like a real idiot. I find it really funny as well because recently in like Arrow, when he was on Arrow, he was played by, I think, a Latino man.
Oh, really? Because there's been a couple Wild Dogs.
Yeah, but like that was like the big main one, and I'm like, that's kind of funny that like now he's like a white supremacist.
Well, yeah, because it is funny because like the original Wild Dog was very like 80s death wish gun fetish type of guy. Who got a bunch of money. Then the second one, I think, was the Hispanic one. Maybe Arrow fused the 2 together. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think they kind of did.
Right, because they did that a lot. And then the last time we saw Wild Dog was the Wild Dog Gang from Ben Percy's run on Green Arrow, where they were a bunch of ultra-libertarian militiamen.
Yeah.
So Wild Dog has actually had a very interesting history that has seen him become more and more of an asshole every time he shows up. Yeah, that's funny too, because like, when I think of Brian Azzarello, I don't think of like pointed political commentary, and that wasn't pointed political commentary. That was just Azzarello. I have a thing to say.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna get this. It is pretty funny though that all the other villains are like, Jesus Christ, Wild Dog, we're bad guys.
Yeah, what the fuck? Yeah, what the fuck, man?
I don't feel safe with you in this prison plane. So that's funny. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's really the show for this week, right?
Yeah, pretty much. We did a normal length show with very little.
Yeah, exactly. I never want people to feel they're being shortchanged when we do this. And oh, hey, the show last week did better at 2 hours. How fucked up is that? It actually crossed 1,000.
I told you it. But I told you the longer shows do it. But as well, like I was also seeing like in my videos like an uptick as well.
Same.
Like so, I think maybe we're out of like that slump. That like August like summer slump.
I guess so. Yeah, a lot of my stuff did better this week than it did. So fucking YouTube, everyone. Just you can't bother fighting this wave because another wave is gonna come and take you over.
Yeah.
So you just got to go with the fucking flow on that one. So thank you everyone for coming out and hanging out with us and talking about Suicide Squad. We had a big audience, so we really appreciate that. We hope you had a lot of fun, and Matt and I will be back next week, hopefully with some actual proper news to talk to you about.
Hopefully, yeah. Thank you everyone as well for the donations.
Yes, you're really helping keep this ship afloat here and everything. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
See ya.